exactly to understand what the Nkoko and Nketenkete, policy really is all about.
First and foremost, let me thank you very much for the opportunity for me as a Minister of State to share some relevant information with the general public. One, the Nkoko Nketenkete program is our flagship program to transform the poultry subsector of our country. The program has three major components, but when it comes to implementation, we have boiled them into two. The first one is what we call the backyard poultry. Actually, that's what we have started, and we have not even completed that. The backyard poultry. The backyard poultry is to ignite interest of households, individual Ghanaians, in the poultry business. So that people will take interest, invest in it, and then earn a livelihood from that business. Don't forget that in Ghana, agriculture is entirely private sector led. Government only creates that conducive, congenial atmosphere for private individuals and entities to take advantage of. And so, under Nkoko Nketenkete, the first approach, the backyard poultry, is this one. And then this is
what we've seen so far.
This is how we execute it. One, Ministry of Food and Agriculture procures bears and feed. And then, through our district offices, we have identified commercial farmers in all the districts. These commercial farmers, commercial poultry farmers, have the facilities, they have the experience, and they have the willingness to help actualize this laudable government program. And so we send the bears, 10,000 each, to every district through the commercial farmer to brood for 1 month.
So for the backyard?
For the backyard. The reason why we want people with experience to do the brooding is that these people we are distributing the bears to have no knowledge in poultry business. And so if you give them the day-old chicks, the mortality rate will be high. And the bears require maximum attention in the first month. That is the period that you have to vaccinate them and ensure that they are given the right food and the right attention for them to survive. After 1 month, they become energetic and then capable of scavenging. They are able to go around and search for food on their own. So that is the period that we distribute them through the beneficiaries. And that is why we have been very, very successful in raising a lot of bears. You understand?
So you've done 10,000 per district.
10,000 per district. We are not done with all the regions. As we speak, we are done with Western North, we are done with Ahafo, we are done with Bono East, we are done with about 11 regions, including Western. But Western, we have our bears at the brooding places for brooding. When they are done, then we start with the distribution. We are yet to move to Northern region for distribution to continue. So it is the experience, the expertise, and the facilities of these commercial farmers that have supported us in brooding these bears. And then we distribute to them. Now, all these regions I have mentioned, we have distributed broilers to them. And the broilers, after 8 weeks, they are ready for market and consumption. Keeping them beyond 8 weeks is generally uneconomical.
You just be feeding them.
We just be feeding them, and that will not increase anything. And because at 8 weeks, the weight is between 2.5 and then 3.5 kilos. If you continue to keep them, the legs will not be able to hold that weight. So you'll be having problems with the bird. So the technical people advise that As soon as they are distributed to the beneficiaries, within a space of 1 month, they should be ready for market and consumption.
Okay.
That is the first phase. And then under the same Nkoko Nketenkete,
Right.
we identify the most vulnerable women in the communities. Because we want to give them the opportunity to earn a livelihood so that they can take care of their children.
And these women are not necessarily poultry farmers.
They are not poultry farmers.
Okay.
Especially the widows.
All right.
So what we do is that we give them battery cages. And then we give them 120 bears each. Because that's the capacity of the battery cage. And then we give them the feed. And with the technical support of our officers on the ground, they will be doing the layers. In fact, we started with almost 600 of them.
And such women?
Such women.
Okay, across the country.
Across the country. And as we speak, some of them most of them are collecting eggs. And the testimonies are everywhere for people to see what is happening. That is also part of the Nkoko Nketenkete. That's
the second leg of the
Nkoko Nketenkete.
Okay, the backyard one and the one that is targeted at the women.
Which is also a backyard project.
Okay.
Except that this one, because we want it to be some form of a capital something, we give them the battery cage, we give them the feed, and then we add the bears. And with the technical support, they are good to go. So this is what we are doing. But so far, assessing what we have done, you see that yes, we have made some significant gains that nobody, no right-thinking person can dispute. But before I even get to those significant, achievements under the project, let me indicate that the object of the project is to increase poultry production in Ghana.
Okay.
As number one. And then when you increase poultry production, we want to develop the value chain, adding processing, so that we look at poultry from the farm until it gets to the table for consumption.
Right.
Because the biggest challenge confronting poultry business in Ghana is lack of market. If you are unable to add value, there is no way we can transform the poultry subsector. So value addition is key.
Okay, one of the objectives.
One of the objectives.
Okay.
And that is why immediately we launched the Nkoko Nketenkete backyard project. We also moved to Bechem to cast sod for the commencement of the construction of a modern poultry processing center called the Nkoko Nketenkete Processing Center. Probably the name is a bit confusing. And that is why you hear people making some comments out of ignorance.
Right.
Because the facts and the context are not known. But I think there's an opportunity for us to highlight some of these things.
Okay.
Then you move to the third one. Now, when you increase production, and then you promote value addition, the last one is what we call boosting household food and nutrition security.
Okay.
Boosting household food and nutrition.
How is that going to be done?
Excellently. That is why we have the backyard.
Okay.
Once the people are rearing the bears, they will now have to eat some of the bears.
Okay.
But they don't have to eat all. They have to sell some and then reinvest. That was the caution I sounded when I appeared before Parliament.
Right.
That, look, you have raised the bears. That is excellent. But once you have been considered and given even 10, 20, 50, whatever you are given, you have the right. You are a human being. You cannot leave the bears there and then go to the market to buy chicken to come and eat whilst you have it.
Okay.
So consume some, but don't consume everything.
Are they aware how many, for instance, if you have 20 birds, how many you are to consume, or there's no clarity?
We don't have any amount or number for you to consume. Okay. But what we are saying is that we want you to see it as a business, as a seed for you to grow and live on.
So you're saying that it's not misplaced at all, that some of these farmers are consuming some of the birds?
If you want to boost household food security and nutrition. Consumption is part of it.
Okay.
In any case, what are birds raised for? Are they clocks to be fixed on the wall for people to look at? They are meant for consumption, and indeed local consumption. So even when you encourage them to sell, they are selling to local people for consumption. So the ultimate of this investment is to boost local consumption.
Okay.
So that our people can develop taste for locally produced birds. And that will shift the demand for imported poultry to locally produced ones. Because as we speak, on annual basis, we spend $350 million United States dollars to import poultry products into Ghana. That huge amount of money is creating jobs in those countries at the expense and peril of the youth of our nation. And that is why we said that with this project, we are going to unlock the full potential of the poultry subsector for job creation. Now, after the Nkoko and Nketenkete, when we are done, we then move to the second phase. And then in the second phase, we are targeting the medium-scale producers.
Still under the Nkoko and Nketenkete.
Under the Nkoko and Nketenkete.
So the first explanation you gave happens at the household level.
The household level.
Okay.
Now, when we are done with that, then we move from the household. We are now going to those who are into commercial poultry business.
Okay.
Some of them have been categorized as the middle or medium scale producers. They are able to do from 500 bears to, let's say, 3,000 bears. They need the capacity to expand. And it is the duty of government, as we pursue increase in production, to give them that support to enable them expand. And then we move to the commercial farmers, the large-scale producers. What can we do with them for them to also scale up so that we can produce sufficiently to feed our people?
Okay.
Three things must work here. What is the state now? As we speak, when you look at our consumption and our demand, our production is just around 5 to 10%.
Yeah, quite low.
But these are birds that can be raised within 2 months, especially the broilers. So why is it that we cannot do it and we are spending our resources to create jobs for foreigners while our people are moving up and down our streets doing practically nothing, faffing around every day? Something must be done. And that is the strategy that we have adopted.
Okay.
Now, we haven't even done 50% of the household project.
So you've not moved to the second leg yet.
We are yet to move to that place.
You even go to the commercial.
We haven't even gone to the commercial. But you know, under the Feed Ghana program, the first thing we did was to campaign for mass participation in the agricultural space.
Okay.
So as I sit here, we have seen a number of people who hitherto were not in the poultry space, but today they are into poultry business. This is as a result of the campaign that we embarked upon.
Any numbers, those who have...
In fact, it's so huge. I cannot sit here and give you the number, but I think you can even attest to it. Because even in your office here, you have people who, as a result of our campaign, have also gone into poultry business. In fact, a man came to me in the office and invited me to his house. When I went, he opened a big door. Look at the eggs I have produced. I'm not getting the market. I listened to you. Based on your campaign, I invested the resources and look at what is happening. Can you people do something to get people to buy the eggs for me? Yeah. This is what we are witnessing in the system.
Okay.
And the results of the interventions and the campaign we have embarked upon are visible, clear, available everywhere for people to see and testify.
Now, you have touched on a key matter that people are producing, but they are not getting the market. How do we fix that challenge?
You know, as part of the Nkoko and Nketenkete project, and that's why I indicated earlier on that I think the name is misleading a lot of people. Okay. They think that the Nkoko and Nketenkete is just about the household one that we are executing now. The name entails a lot. Under the project, we are also constructing a modern poultry processing center.
The one in Bichim?
The one in Bichim.
Okay.
We did the salt cutting, and the construction is underway. In fact, the contractor and the technical people have reported to us that all things being equal, in the early months of next year, they will be able to complete the project for us.
We'll start running by early of next year.
We will operationalize it. That is what the technical people have informed us. And let me give you the details of what is going to happen in Bichim.
Okay.
It is not just a poultry processing facility. That's why we call it a center. We are going to have the processing plants. In fact, 2 lines, one dedicated to layers and one for broilers, with a capacity to process 3,000 birds per hour. And then we are going to have cold rooms. We'll do the packaging and everything and refrigeration there. And then we are also building a hatchery. Because when the factory is in operation, looking at the volumes of birds they require for processing, they need to support outgrowers to produce so that they can offtake.
Okay.
So a hatchery
So they have regular, more like raw.
A hatchery is being built. And from the hatchery, they will be distributing a day-old chicks to registered farmers who will produce to feed the factory. And then we also have a feed mill. Because once you have a hatchery, there's the need for you to also produce feed. And so we are also going to do that. Once you are going to produce feed, you need a silo to be able to store the grains for processing. And then apart from that, we are also bringing in a machine that is very, very important to changing the story in the poultry space. And we call it the rendering machine. That machine will process all the unwanted parts of the poultry, including the feathers, into dog feed, into fish feed, and fertilizers for distribution to the farmers. Don't forget, once you have a feed mill, you will need maize, you will need soya, and you have to invest in making people producing so that you can offtake to support the business. And then we have a place prepared for the training of the farmers. They will bring the farmers to that training center. Accommodation facilities are available with canteen, and then they will be trained there. When it is completed, the system will be normalized. And this is not the only one we are looking at. We are also into partnership with some private entities that are also putting up new ones. This is to create market so that the issue of I'm not getting market will be a thing of the past. Because we appreciate that regardless of the resources that is pumped into the sector, if the marketing opportunities are not created, we cannot make or achieve our aims.
Right. And so this Bichim processing plant, what is its capacity in terms of the number of beds?
I've already indicated that is 3,000 per hour.
3,000
beds per hour. So assuming they are even doing 8 hours, just multiply and see the number of beds that it will require. And that is why we need to ignite the interest so that people will be already prepared for it. And I am encouraged by the enthusiasm and the interest we have generated on the ground in this project. And I think that we are on the proper track to achieve our aims.
How much have we spent so far on the backyard one that you've spoken about? We are yet to move into the commercial bit, but the interventions you've done now in the Nkoko and Nketenkete, maybe you are at stage 1 or stage 2 now. How much money have we spent?
You see, I heard some of our colleagues argue that we have expended 240 million. I was wondering where they got that figure from.
You've not spent the money?
The 241 million they mentioned is captured in the 2026 budget to support the program. And as I sit here, we have not even concluded the award of contracts, let alone assessing the funds. Because we don't take the money from the Ministry of Finance. The Ministry of Finance in accordance with law or according to the Public Financial Management Act, has issued commitment authorization to the Ministry of Agriculture to commit the state into contracts for the utilization of that budgetary allocation. We have not finalized the process. We are still in the process. And that amount of money is targeting the second phase to support the medium-scale producers and the large-scale commercial farmers.
Okay.
And so these concussions about 241, I said, where did they get the figure?
So you are even yet to access them?
We are even yet to assess.
So which funds are you using for?
You know, in the last year's budget, the budget provided 150 million for the project. And last year, that is what we awarded the contract, and as and when they deliver, then we'll write for them to go to finance to take their monies. We have not even exhausted that.
Okay.
And so this concussion of figures, to create some kind of disaffection in the public space is something I don't understand. In fact, if you have the opportunity to be on air, to speak to the Ghanaian people, and you have not ceased with the fact, if the intention is not to engage in intentional deception, you have to be circumspect what you put out. Because if the facts come out and it is evidence that you peddled falsehood, how will society look at you? Let me register my displeasure at some of the things that I saw on some sets, some TV sets, in our media space. Some people decided to create the impression that they have expended 240 million. It's a waste expenditure. Why do you even expend state resources on such projects for free? My brother, let me take my time to explain some of these issues for people to appreciate. In agricultural policy formulation, it is known, and indeed it is an indisputable fact, that government can provide free services, especially when the goal is to correct market imperfections, when the goal is to reduce poverty, and when the goal is to deliver a public good that the private sector is unwilling or unable to deliver. And in delivering these free services in agriculture, we normally implement such policies through what we call targeted agricultural policies. Let me give you just two examples.
Right.
Number one, we have what we call targeted social interventions that seek to promote equity and reduce rural poverty, especially among the youth, the women, and the smallholder farmers.
And those are your targets as you speak, the backyard
You've
ones.
seen it yourself. That's why when people talk, I ask myself, do they appreciate where we are coming from? And then the intentions, the rationale. Because if people appreciate what we are doing, they wouldn't have made those comments. Then number two, we have what we call strategic national initiatives. These are aimed to shift from import dependency to domestic food sovereignty. Let me tell you this. The past government procured 10,000 battery cages and distributed to some top politicians free of charge, because the government wanted to use that to increase the production of poultry in this country. What was the impact? Did you see the impact? They also procured some bears and distributed. Did you see the impact? But at that time, these same people who are today crying on every radio station was on the same radio stations singing encomiums of the project. What has changed?
You think they are unduly criticizing the Nkoko Nketenkete?
It is not unduly. Every public policy is subject to criticisms. But criticisms must be constructive. If you don't have the facts, if you don't have a better appreciation, seek explanation before you embark on those criticisms.
So the clarity you are giving us tonight is that the 241 million they're talking about is not what is being used for the first phase of
we have not even
accessed
that.
So the first one from last year budget, how much of it has gone into all this?
In fact, even as we speak, I think we have not accessed up to 75 million because it depends on delivery. When you deliver, then we prepare and then you go and take your money from finance.
Okay.
And so that's how we work.
So those who are already producing the eggs, but of course the markets or the factory is not ready, they're producing meat. What do they do with it?
Now, you have asked a very relevant question, which is practical. Within 1 year, or immediately after the implementation of the policy, some few months after its implementation, and after the campaign, we have seen something in Ghana we've never seen before. Ghana is witnessing glut of eggs for a sustained period of 1 year. And we are still going through. Have you seen this in Ghana before? And the prices of eggs are falling to the extent that producers are complaining because in some cases, they don't even get market. Have you seen this before?
So this is attributed to the Nkoko Nketenkete.
You don't ask me. Is this something that is coming out of the blue? You think nothing has been done? We are just in the States. And then eggs started falling from the skies. Is that the case? Why is it that it did not happen in the previous years? And it is happening this year. Can you give any convincing argument to say that it is not as a result of the campaign and the interventions we have embarked upon? Then again, look at even the cost of chicken in Ghana. In 2024, a chicken was sold at 200, 250, and in some cases, 300 Ghana cedis. A bed.
Per kilo.
Yes, the full chicken.
Okay.
Just yesterday, some stakeholders came to me in the house, and we had a conversation, and they told me that 2024 and even early 2025, their bears were selling at 200, 250, and business was good. But today, they are selling at 110, 100 cedis. In some cases, people buy it at 80 and 90, and they think that the Nkoko Nketenkete backyard project is seriously affecting prices. Is that not a fact?
So
no. Let's be.
Yes, it's a fact. But
I'm coming to a point. I'm dragging to a point. Very important one. And so, if you go to the market today, and then the bird is 110 Ghana cedis. Let's even use the maximum. You used to buy it at 200. Today you are buying it at 110. Are you not making savings?
You are, but the farmer is losing.
Excellent. The farmer is losing. And that is why it is our duty to work to protect the interests of that farmer.
How do you intend doing that?
That is what I'm coming to explain. But before then, let's finish with that scenario.
Okay.
Because I'm not done with that scenario.
Sure.
I gave you the scenario of the eggs. I gave you the scenario of the poultry, the bears.
The bears.
And now I'm moving to the feed, which of course has been the headache of all producers since time immemorial. What is the challenge? Normally, everybody complains about the cost of feed. This year we have seen something. We've never seen that before. What have we seen? Maize is a major ingredient in poultry feed. If you recall, in 2024, we saw poultry farmers on our streets crying for maize to feed their bears. They were not getting bears, they are not getting maize, and their bears were dying. Some had to go as far out to Côte d'Ivoire to bring in maize. Today, the status quo has changed. We have produced maize in excess of our market to the extent that maize price, which used to be around 1,600 per bag of 100 kg in Sisala, which is the maize production hub, has reduced to as low as 200 cedis.
Per 100 kilo.
Per 100 kg.
Today.
Today. I was in the office when one of the chiefs came to me and complained that, Honorable, I have no choice. Mine, I have to sell it at 180. I said, wow. Today, that is the price.
How did we get the maize prices to drop?
No, I'm coming. Is it not because of abundance? It is just demand and supply. Now we have produced so much to the extent that for the first time in the history of our country, the government through the National Food Buffer Stock has procured maize and is maintaining strategic stocks at maize and rice and other, grains against emergencies. So should there be any emergency, the poultry farmer will not take to the streets, walk straight to the buffer stock, and buffer stock will release maize to enable them stay in production. You think that something has not changed? So this also happened out of the blue. Is that the case? Let us be factual. These things happen out of the blue. Nobody engineered it. Nobody worked for it. These are the results of the interventions we are implementing. Nobody can contest it. And so if somebody says that we are not seeing the success, is he being honest, truthful to himself? Because he's feeling it. You went to the market yourself.
We've seen the food inflation figures drop from...
We haven't even gone to that part. Let's finish with this one. You yourself, you go to the market. You were buying the bed at 200, 250. Today, you are buying it at 100. You have made savings of around 150. Is it not huge? So assuming every year you consume 10 bears, can you imagine the savings that you are making? And this is how investment in free services to farmers are recouped. And so when they pose that question, how are they going to recoup their investment? I said, wow. Is this also part of the argument? How would that be? We are investing in free education. How are we going to recoup the investment? It will translate in knowledge building and economic expansion. And the Ghanaian people will be the beneficiaries.
So under Nkoko,
so when the successes are visible,
beyond prices dropping, how do we really measure the success of this policy?
Excellent. You measure the success based on the economic impact it is making.
The monies we are putting into the program,
excellent.
Are we expecting the money back, or it goes and gets stuck?
And that is what I'm telling you today. When you invest in targeted social intervention, it is the benefits that pays for the investment you have made. We use the taxpayers' money to support this program. Now, as a result of these interventions, the taxpayer now pays lesser than what he uses to pay. And so you think that that is not a way to recoup the investment? Is that not the case? No. So answer me.
I understand that point.
It's not about understanding.
I get a point. but for those watching, they may be asking, if I get 20 beds from the government, am I to pay back?
No, under the backyard poultry, you will not pay back.
Okay.
Because the intention is to stimulate interest. And so you won't pay back. And that is why I caution that once you have gotten 20 or even more, don't consume all. You can consume part, but remember, it is for investment. Sell and reinvest. That is what we are looking at. Now,
and are you following up to ensure that those who are benefiting from this bet actually reinvest?
In fact, we have evidence. We have videos all over the country. And we have told our technical people to go to the field and then get us a documentary from almost all the regions for the Ghanaian people to see the impact that we are making with that. In fact, when I met with some of the poultry farmers and then some people from the cold storage business, yesterday in my house, we had frank discussions.
Okay.
Even those in cold storage facilities, those in the cold store business, you know what they told me? They said, Honorable, in fact, to tell you the truth, the Nkoko Nketenkete project is affecting our businesses. Demand is reducing. And I said, yes, I know that. But don't be jittery. Don't be worried. Now, let me tell you something about policy. You see the brain. The brain the brain often perceives change as a danger, triggering emotional and unpredictable responses.
Right.
Until the logic sets in. So the implementation of this project, right from the outset, I heard an active player in the sector saying that it is going to fail.
Will it fail?
It will not. The signs are there. You are enjoying, I am enjoying, every Ghanaian is seeing the benefits. How then would you describe such a policy as
Is it sustainable?
It is.
How do we sustain it?
Excellent. The sustainability depends on the sale and reinvestment. And that is why we are creating market and building hatcheries. And apart from that, we are in partnership with other institutions for implementation of another program to support the Nkoko Nketenkete. All these things will ensure that we increase production, we expand value addition, and then we boost local consumption, increase food security, nutrition in the country. And once demand shifts from consumption of imported poultry to locally produced one, the goal is achieved.
There are so many, messages coming in. A lot of things we need to talk about.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we are running out of time.
No, but there's something I need to clarify.
Yeah, so I want to find out from you before you even clarify. We've heard the Poultry Farmers Association raise concern that they were not consulted prior to the implementation of this policy.
In fact, I've also heard that from them. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate such statements are being made. Why am I saying that? One, at the beginning of the program, we asked our technical people to produce the policy document. In fact, they generated the policy. Our technical people plus the technical team from our allied, agencies. And then when the document was ready, we invited all stakeholders to what we call a validation conference. And 3 days, we went through the policy document. I mean, every participant contributed, changes were made, and we fine-tuned it, and then we produced a more practical, workable document that is guiding our implementation. That is the Feed Ghana document, which is operationalizing the Agriculture for Economic Transformation agenda. My brother, that document was prepared by all of us. Now it is for implementation.
Including the poultry farmers?
Including the poultry farmers.
So they were consulted?
They were consulted in the preparation of the policy. Then apart from that, I have already indicated to you that the backyard poultry, had it not been the support, the participation of these commercial farmers, it would have been difficult for us to implement them. And so we relied heavily on them. They were selected from all the districts. They did the brooding. That is the most difficult part.
So it is inaccurate if the poultry farmers, Greater Accra...
In fact, I was
is that what you're telling us?
In Greater Accra, the brooding was done by existing commercial farmers. If you are part of the leadership and you are not privy to this, out of ignorance, you can make any statement. And that is why I said that your statement should not be actuated with malice. Okay. It should not be, intentional deception just to create disaffection or round down a program that is seriously impacting on the lives of many others.
Okay, we've touched so much on the poultry bit.
No, but there are other issues surrounding the poultry that we need to clear.
Okay.
A statement was made by some of our colleagues who have been in the media space. They said that because we have raised poultry and people are consuming, the project is a failure. Now, on hearing this, I did two things. The first one is academic.
We have less than 10 minutes.
Yes, the first one is academic, and I want to do that with you.
Okay.
Probably for the public to also be part of it. I subjected their argument to Aristotle's test of syllogism. Aristotle says that when somebody makes an argument and draws conclusion, first determine the major premise. So from what they said, the major premise that I determined, and I believe our brothers and sisters from the academia, they are all watching, and they will also subject the argument to strict tests and prove the validity, the syllogism or otherwise of those statements. One, the major premise. Poultry birds have been raised. Two, the birds are being consumed. Three, and this is their conclusion, the program is a failure. You see that the premises and the conclusions, are incongruous.
Why?
Jarring.
Because if you are producing, you are eating, at the end of the day, I mean, the business will collapse. You need to save some.
You see, you have gotten it wrong. First, when you raise birds, the birds are meant for consumption. Whichever way you look at it, whether it is sold, not sold, it is for consumption.
Ultimately.
And so once you raise bird and people are consuming the bird, the project is a success. When you say it is a failure, it doesn't match. It's a jarring matching.
Perhaps they are raising concern about sustainability of it.
You see, when you ask of sustainability, I will agree with you. In the first place, is it easy to raise birds? So if we have succeeded in raising the birds, and for the first time in the history of our country, our people are even consuming the birds, and they are developing taste for locally produced birds, how will that mean that the project is a failure? But I told people not to be worried about the impact it is having on their businesses. We will ratify all those anomalies.
Yes, that's the major concern of producers whose investment,
yes.
For instance, they produce at high cost, and at the end of the day, they are unable to sell. They are not even getting the market.
See,
glut when it comes to the eggs.
I agree with you.
What is the plan to address this?
Mohammed's policy will not leave any stakeholder in a lurch. None of them will be left high and dry. We will make sure that after the full implementation of the Nkoko Nketenkete, the impact and the benefits will accrue to everybody. But let me indicate this. I was shocked when I heard some of the people I've held in high esteem for several years, people that we consider as the paragon quintessential of sagacity, flooding the media space with products of imbecility, falsehood. I was shocked. And my impression is changed about how I look at people. Because psychology will tell you, I didn't do psychology,
right,
but I understand psychology. Psychology will tell you that sagacity and imbecility are effectively asymptotic.
Interested. So
you don't look at a person and determine whether he is wise or otherwise. You must diagnose his observable actions, his decisions, and outcomes in order to make a decision.
Okay.
And so when people want to talk, especially communicate to the public,
especially about Nkoko Nketenkete,
whatever government project, any public matter, let's know the facts and speak to the facts.
What is the future of Nkoko Nketenkete? I have 2 minutes.
The future of Nkoko Nketenkete is simple. It is empowering individual household, generating the interest. People are creating businesses out of it, increasing production of birds in our country, promoting consumption, and eventually, when all the other facilities are in place, it will transform our sector and move Ghana from import dependency to self-sufficiency. This is the trajectory.
From next year, what are we likely to see with this project?
In fact, I hope what we are seeing today, you want to see more of that. Is that not? Of course. Let's first appreciate what we are seeing to motivate those who are on the field doing the job so that we can multiply the benefits for the Ghanaian people.
All right.
It is only when you appreciate what is available that you can get more.
You seem so passionate about your sector, the agricultural sector. Apart from the poultry aspect, rice is a concern for many.
Yes.
Tomato is also a concern.
Yes.
Ginger is expensive in the country.
Yes.
These are things we would have loved to speak about. But this message, I need to read it. It's a question, actually. It reads that government has announced plans to reintroduce the rice import quota system.
Yes.
How will this policy be implemented to genuinely protect and grow domestic rice production without creating market distortions, shortages, or opportunities for rent seeking? This is from Fred Kukuboy.
Yes, the quota system in the rice subsector is to ensure that we consume more of what is produced here, because that is the only way Ghana can develop.
Okay.
Now, to be able to do that, our technical team is now engaging all the stakeholders. And so from next week and the following weeks, you'll see the technical team engaging with the stakeholders. After the engagement, the policy will be fine-tuned and proper announcement will be made. It will be out of place for me to sit here and then talk about the details when the consultation has not even started.
Okay.
And so spare me, let them finish with the consultation, and when everything is settled, we will announce to the public. In fact, the strategy in the entire agricultural space is simple.
Okay.
But I was thinking that you were going to applaud us, because when you showed the figures, you realize that this is the first time in several years that we have achieved food inflation of below 4%. First time in several years. It has never happened in the history of our country. I don't know whether people can dispute, because people can concord their figures, but that is the truth. Now, do you know the implication of lower food inflation? Food inflation, there is a positive relationship between food inflation and the number of people in the poverty bracket. So when food prices are going up, the number of people in the poverty bracket increases.
Right.
And vice versa.
Thank you.